Coming up in today's episode.
By the time your child is 5, the average monthly earnings for a mother are down 42%.
Oh yeah, we're spending too much time on cappuccinos. I do spend a lot of money on cappuccinos, don't get me wrong, but it ain't that. It certainly isn't that. You had it a lot easier.
But if it wasn't for that thermometer, Ruby might not be with us now. She is going through something now. All right, just park your hobby for a month. It could change your wife's life.
Welcome to the Fun Dad, Dean and Wife Unfiltered podcast. I am Dean.
And I am Sarah. So earlier in the week, I am obviously on a WhatsApp group, who isn't? But someone sent a clip of the 90's and it was basically tagged the good old days. And it got me thinking, were they the good old days? Like, are these days, 2025, as good for our kids growing up as it was for us in the 80s and 90s?
So today we're going to be delving into the question, would you rather be a parent in 1995 as opposed to 2005?
We'll break down the pros and cons and figuring out which era wins the parenting battle.
We'll share a few personal stories.
Dean, don't get too personal.
A few shocking statistics and decide who had it easier, our parents or us. And I've got a strong bias towards one, but we'll talk about it.
Okay. Well, I think one of the things that I noticed first of all was, do you know what? Now I'm actually a parent and our eldest is reaching the age where she might or will, start to go out without us and things like that. It literally made me think, I cannot imagine what it was like for my mum when I was like 11, 12 years old, just going like, bye mum. And I'd get the bus to a different town and go and see my friends, maybe go to their house or like say I was going to their house. But she just had to have this massive amount of trust that where I said I was going was where I was going. And sorry, mum, but a lot of the time it wasn't. You trusted the wrong girl.
Then you get the train home from Wales at like 13 years old or something stupid.
No, it wasn't the train. When I was 14, I got the mega bus home from Wales. No mobile phone. So I went from Swansea to, I think it was Paddington in London. And yeah, just no phone. They just popped me on this mega bus and off I went. And then my boyfriend at the time met me in London and we had to, arrange a meeting place because...
So you're saying it's harder back then for this kind of, for letting your kids go out because you've got less control of where they are, etc.
Yeah, but nowadays, if your child goes out, generally, I would say most people have an AirTag or they're tracking them on their phones or they're knowing where they are or they're ringing them to make sure where they say they're going is where they're going. But literally in 1995, it was like, bye.
But why is that? Is that because we're more nervous, more anxious parents than we were back in the 90s? Because we worry about that sort of stuff more? Is that...
Well, they didn't have a choice, but it was either go out and I'm going to trust where you're saying is where you're going, or...
Stay in and not go out.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice. But now we've got this, magnitude of choices of how you can track your child. So...
But are kids going out a lot less, though? In that sense, are they going out less in the sense of us allowing them to go out at a younger age? Because we don't let our what age is it? Did they go out younger back in the day? I mean,
it's hard. I think they did go out younger, and I think that's down to a load of factors. Even traffic. There would have been less traffic in 1995. The roads weren't as busy. The cars weren't as fast. All those kind of things. So depending on what type of road you lived on as well, might have depended whether you went out. You weren't going to go and you lived on an A road. You're not going to exactly be like, go kids, go and play out. There's loads of traffic on the A road. See you later.
We did.
You still did?
I went out and played on the road. I used to go and... There was a girl that lived 2 doors down. Her name was Eleanor. And I really fancied her.
Of course you did.
And we used to hang around just on the road side. I was I had really hairy arms as a kid. And I used to be really paranoid about my arms hanging around. But I don't know why I just said that.
You're so strange.
That memory just came back to me when we was literally hanging on the side of the road by the bus stop, just playing and chatting. Would we allow our kids to do that now? And I was probably about 10, 11, something like that.
I think so. I've just started letting our eldest go out now and again and stuff. And I suppose it's bittersweet because some of her friends have got phones, and sometimes it's like a saving grace because I think, oh, I can ring and like whatever and say, you know, I'll send Daisy back, or just she needs to be back at this time or whatever. It's a saving grace. But for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword, the phones, because also one of my biggest concern when she goes out with her friends is, yeah, it's great that I can contact her, but I'm quite anxious and worried about what she could be exposed to on those phones whilst not in my company. So for me, they're a double-edged sword. Like, I would rather give her like a watch or an AirTag or something to track her with.
Yeah, we tried the AirTag. She took it off in a van.
Yeah, that was was it the caravan, wasn't it?
That was really
She
successful.
kept hiding it.
She was like, this doesn't look cool enough. I'm not wearing this piece of crap.
But yeah, so I don't know. That's, I suppose, one of the things. But there was also really good pros, I suppose, about 1995 versus now. Like, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to contact your kids necessarily in 1995, and you had to have a lot of trust about where they were going. But also, phones, internet, all those things actually provide a really good security blanket, I think, for parents these days. There's a lot more information out there to support parents now. If you're struggling with an aspect of parenting, there's a lot of places you can turn to now than you would have been able to in 1995.
Is there too much information, though, that just makes parents overthink everything and make them more anxious and worried about how they're parenting? Our parents, literally, if you kept us alive, you were doing a good job. Now you go on social media, Instagram, and you think you're just doing it all wrong because you can't give them this to eat, you can't give them this to do, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that. And there's a lot of information, but it's harder for parents because it feels more pressure. There's a lot more pressure.
I would say that in 1995 there was lower information overload. Like, I think there is a bit to this. So, for example, like if your child's ill now, I think a lot of us would straight away go to Google. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but NHS Online gets a lot of hits on Safari for me.
But that's dangerous in itself, but go on, you carry on.
Yeah, but you say it's dangerous, Dean, but it actually really helped. Do you remember when Ruby was ill? So our youngest, years ago, she was about 9 months old, and she was really unwell, wasn't she? And she was just like, I remember she was, you know, baby in arms, really, wasn't she? Still having her bottles at bedtime and stuff. And I remember I was babysitting. Do you remember you used to go babysitting?
Yeah.
And I was babysitting, and you were messaging me, weren't you? Because you were like,
help, probably. I can't think, because she was throwing up a lot, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she wouldn't, basically, she wasn't keeping down water. She wasn't keeping down milk. And also what really helped was having that, you know, the ear-thermometer that you got now? I'm guessing in 1995 they weren't a thing. You know, the digital thermometers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got back from babysitting and you were like, oh, gosh, sorry, she's really not well. And she was quite lethargic. She wasn't well. So I didn't really know what to do because I'm not a massive panicker, really, am I? When the kids are ill, I'm just like, oh, you know, give them a bit of Calpol, give them some TLC. Like, you know, I don't want to be dramatic about things.
Yeah.
And I do feel like sometimes if you ring 111, they just always send an ambulance. Like, I'd done that a couple of times with our eldest. And they'd sent an ambulance. Do you remember when we lived in our old house?
Like 3, they came at like 2 in the morning. Oh,
and it felt so dramatic. So this time round, I thought, no, I'm not going to be dramatic and ring 111. Like, I was trying to be chill. But if it wasn't for that thermometer, Ruby might not be with us now. Like, that, at the end of the day, that was how bad this got. So
do you want to add on to that? Because that's quite dramatic.
Yeah, bit emotional. But so basically what happened was, she just kept deteriorating and she wasn't keeping down water. And if it wasn't for Google and being able to Google what happened, I don't know what would have happened because it was also a Saturday night, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, she's just deteriorating really, really badly. But Google listed a few warning things, which I would never have known if I hadn't have Googled. So the warning things, it was temperature over 40, which she had, no wet nappies, and she couldn't keep down water or, well, anything. And she was just like quite lethargic. Anyway, so I did make the decision then after having gone on NHS and I thought, gosh, she's got a few of these like tick things that say go and seek medical advice. So I did. And I went into the hospital, and they did make me feel better at the start, because they were just kind of like, oh, it's probably viral, she'll be fine.
They kind of palmed us off a bit, didn't they?
They really... And I am not slating the NHS at this point. Like, I'm a teacher, and I do think, you know, people in public services do an incredible job. And maybe this one woman is the exception to the rule. But she really made me feel, here we go, another neurotic mum, what's she doing here?
They probably see so many mums like that, though, because you do over panic sometimes when your kids are ill. They probably see it all day, every day, and it's probably one of those instances, isn't it?
Yeah. So I remember being this thing, and they were just a bit like, oh, well, we'll have to get a urine sample. I was like, okay, how do I get a urine sample out of a 9-month-old? Like, that's really... she's in a nappy. I can't, like, you know, she's not potty trained. How do I do this? So, no, so they gave me this, like, pot, and they were like, yeah, we need a urine sample. And I was like, okay. And obviously she wasn't creating urine because she hadn't drunk. She was dehydrated. So I'm trying to get water in her, but every time I give her the bottle, she's throwing up, and it was a nightmare in there, right? Anyway, so we'd been in there a few hours, and then she ends up doing a little... She didn't have a nappy on because I was trying to catch the wee when she did. She ended up doing a little wee on the floor. I was like, sorry, she's actually done it on the floor. But they actually tested the wee, whatever they did, on the floor. And I am not joking. Within 2 minutes of them, I don't know what they did to the... I still don't even know. They didn't really tell me. But within 2 minutes of them doing whatever they did to her wee, doctors, nurses, everyone descended on her. She had a cannula put in. They were taking bloods out of her. Like, all of a sudden, all this stuff was going on. And then we got moved upstairs to, like, a different part of the hospital. And, like, we had our own room, and she had this, like, horrible little, like, hospital cot with bars. And I just remember she was just lying there with all this stuff. And I was like, what's going on? Like, nobody had really spoke to me or said anything. And I was like, I don't really know what's happening right now. And then it was about half an hour later, a doctor came to speak to me. And you weren't there at this point, were you? You must have been at home with our eldest.
I remember it was like 3 a.m. She kept being sick. And you were like, I've got to go. We've got to take her in. I was a bit like, I think we're being a bit dramatic. Still I was. And you took her in.
Because she'd been ill for like a good 4 or 5 days. And you'd been in the whole day. And I think I popped in the morning. And then I went back. And I do remember going back now. I wasn't there the whole time at the start. Because I was a little bit like, I think we might be like dramatic. Because I'm a bit like that. I don't want to put them out too much, you know? Yeah. So then, they basically came and spoke to me, and they were talking to me about white blood cells, and they were talking to me about a urine infection that had got into her blood, and like all this kind of stuff. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, what do we do? And she had IV antibiotics, and they were doing all this stuff, whatever. And, you know, then she did start to improve, literally within 48 hours of being she started to improve. Then we got put on a ward, and we stayed, I think it was like 5 or 6 days. Like, it definitely didn't
done
make
a
it to a
few
week.
shifts there, didn't we? I remember staying over.
Fucking hell, I hate that.
And she had weight, she wouldn't go to sleep.
I know.
She fucking didn't sleep. And even when she was fucking like ill as fuck, she wouldn't sleep either. I was like, yeah.
And then, but weirdly, so I just carried on living my life. Maybe they say ignorance is bliss, but I went to the doctors then, didn't I? About 3 weeks later, she had tonsillitis. So I took her to the GP, and the GP said to me, so how has she been? I see she had sepsis. And I went, no, she didn't. She had a blood infection. He was like,
yeah, that is sepsis.
That is sepsis. But nobody at the hospital had at any point had used that word with me. And I remember sitting in the doctor's surgery going, oh, that's what it was. Because that word for me was like, oh my God.
And that's all about time. Sepsis is all about getting it treated quickly.
And this is what I mean. So take me back in that scenario with my personality and my kind of, oh, I don't want to bother anyone. Oh no, she'll be okay vibe. Without 95. Google in 1995, without the knowledge of what I knew when she was unwell, and having Googled and having that really great source of information. At that point, for me, it was a really great source of information, and be able to look at that checklist and think, do you know what, actually? And having that ear thermometer, so I had an accurate temperature gauge and things like that. Without that, it could have been a very different story.
Could have been worse.
So for me, in situations like that, it's a pro to be living in this day and age, because you can support your children, like with their.
You can, but I think Google's a massive cause of health anxiety as well, because people. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, and I do suffer with that a little bit, as you
Yeah.
know. I can't go on Google because the minute I go on there, I feel like I'm about to die. And so there is that. But
Can I lighten up the? Can I lighten up the?
What are you going to say? Oh, the cock story.
Yeah, can I lighten
on,
it
yeah,
up? That was a bit. Can I lighten up my? I nearly cried talking about the Ruby story, but I didn't, guys. I held it in. I'm all right. But I'll lighten up the mood now with one of my favourite Dean stories. Can I share it?
Yeah, go on. I don't mind. I don't care. Nothing's off limits. I don't give a shit.
So basically, I was in Wales with my mum in our caravan, and Dean rang me, and he was like, Zara. I was like, yeah. He's like, I've got a lump on my cock. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but you make light of it, but that can still
No.
be something bad.
I know.
You're just making light of it because you know what I'm like.
Anyway, so he FaceTimes me. And then, believe me, it wasn't his face on the camera. So he's FaceTimed me.
Could barely fit it on the camera. I had to get like a wide lens as well, so big.
And I've just looked at it and I'm like, Dean, that's nothing. Just, it's fine, like, please. And then he said to me, can you show your mum? Can you see what your mum thinks?
Well, she's seen it a few times. She's been up
My mum
close.
was like, I'm not sure I can do this, Dean. Ring your own mum. Like, what the
Yeah, because
fuck?
I'd been on Google, and obviously it sends you down a right rabbit hole, doesn't it? And it's been like, oh, all the worst things possible if you got that. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I've definitely got that, and all this. And then about a week later, I remember I was at work, and I was in the downstairs toilet, and I went to have a wee, and it just all this like pus had popped out. Oh, this is disgusting. But it was like an ingrown hair.
It was an ingrown hair.
Yeah.
Dean's self-diagnosis was an ingrown hair. Honestly, I was like, "This is so."
So that's
funny.
the bad thing about
Yeah.
if Google used properly in those instances are good. If you're really using it a lot, I think it can send you a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about Wales, do you know what else I am quite happy to leave in 1995?
Go on.
The A to Z. Can you imagine now going on these road trips and going all around the country to all these
I don't
different
know
like
how-
zoos
I
and
just-
farms
that-
and dance camps and things with your kids and all these football matches that you have to go to? Can you imagine going to them and using an A to Z?
Do you know what? My mum and dad were the worst. Like they would drive and they'd have a row every single fucking time they went anywhere with a map. It was a nightmare. I used to get so worried every time we got in the car. I'd be like, here we go again. Anything over about a 20-minute journey, you just know is going to be a full-blown row. And it
Yeah.
happened every single time. So that is definitely easier now.
Yeah.
Like with anything now, you go, all right, what is it? Yeah, where's the postcard? Whack it in. And you don't even...
Oh, Google Maps. What would you do without it?
That is a much easier aspect of life
Yeah.
now. I mean, people go, oh, I want to use a map A to Z. No, you don't. Like that
No.
that is not.
Sod that. That can stay in the past.
That's where technology has definitely helped. Don't get me
Like
wrong.
100%.
Because like car journeys enough to Wales for us are stressful as they are, even with a map. Like when the kids,
I know what you mean.
especially
Yeah,
when the
yeah,
kids
yeah.
were younger.
Yeah.
Like trying to keep them occupied. One time we went without the iPad, didn't we, for 5 hours and tried to keep them
Well, Daisy didn't have an iPad when she was younger.
They nearly fucking smothered each other in the back of the car. Like it was
They were
awful.
arguing. I made the absolute mistake of only taking one blanket. Never do that with two children. It was like the end. They were like fighting over this blanket.
Or
I think at
one
one point
squishy,
you just
wasn't
took
it?
it. One
One
squishy,
squishy.
one squishmallow. I love a
Yeah.
squishmallow.
That's my squishmallow. Fuck, you didn't want it, like, and you've never even wanted a line that in your whole entire life, and now your sister's got it in the back of the car. Now it's the most precious squishmallow of all time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think, though, for me, the biggest elephant in the room that everyone is going to have an opinion on and everyone will be thinking and talking about now, probably when you're thinking, maybe you're sitting there listening to this podcast thinking about your own ideas of what you miss or your nostalgia from the 1990s. One I definitely would say that I would not miss is the pressure from social media. Like, to be a parent now and having to navigate that, when is it suitable? When is their brain ready for them to have it? And then the dramas of the kid worrying, oh, I didn't get enough likes, or somebody commented on my post, or having that comparison culture of, I don't look like them. Nah,
It's
I don't.
so out of our control as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to control that. So it's the scariest thing about being a parent, I would say, with teenagers or pre-teens at that age, at that point. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Whereas the 90s, what did we have? MSN? Remember
I don't think that was even 90s.
Yeah, it was. I think it was.
I don't think it was.
Was it?
No.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Well, I've got a little stat for you.
Go on.
So, actually, in 1995, okay, most houses had a landline only, maybe a pager, and only 9% of UK households were online by 1998. So you were in a very small bracket if you had online access. That was 1998. So obviously compared with now, it's 98% of households have internet.
That seems
And do you remember it used to dial up as well with that?
Oh yeah, I had a
noise.
Packard Bell computer.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But I think we can probably attribute a lot of negatives to social media in 2025, and apparently teenagers are spending 70% less time in person with their friends than 20 years ago. 70% less time. Because what are they doing instead?
It's a shocking stat, isn't it? It's a
It
very,
is,
very
but
worrying stat.
I remember going out with my friends, like as a teenager as well. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I was going out at 14 to the pubs, to the clubs, down into Epsom, into Barcassa in Epsom, and it was like £1 for a vodka Red Bull on, I think it was a Wednesday or a Tuesday night. And, you know, I did that. And I had no inhibitions going out. Like, what happened on a night out stayed on a night out. And that is not the case now. Everything's filmed, everything's documented, everything's taken pictures of, or reels are made. Like, you know, there's no privacy for these kids. And I think, like, we had no judgment. We were allowed to let loose in the clubs and not care what other people thought. Whereas I feel like now,
a video could
not
go
the
round
case.
about your 13 or 14-year-old about doing something silly when they've had a drink or whatever. They shouldn't be drinking, but something,
You know what I mean? Like
something silly out and
dancing
about
or-
or whatever.
yeah.
Go viral on WhatsApp, and then they could just get bullied or get, you know, and all sorts of
but
problems.
that's why they're not, because there's this like documentation of the night out in your pocket or in your hand all the time.
Oh, they're not
I don't
having
think
fun,
kids
you
are
mean?
letting loose. They're not letting go. Like, you know, they're always got to be insta ready. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, even down to the fact that I remember before Facebook came out, I think I got Facebook when I was like 18, maybe 19, 18. And me and my friends used to reuse outfits. Like, we'd wear the same outfit. We'd share outfits. Like, I'd wear it one week, Charlotte would wear it the next week, Sarah would wear it the next week. Like, we'd go and we'd wear these outfits and we'd share them and rotate them. Kids aren't doing that now because it's been seen on social media. They just wear it and then sell it again on Vinted.
Well, that's too much for a girl thing for me. I've never shared any outfits with any of my mates. We don't share boxer shorts and all that kind of stuff.
No, but what I mean
I
is,
know
like,
what you mean. There's so much online now that everything's on there. And
I was even guilty of it then, because once I had Facebook, once it had made it to my photo album or had worn an outfit in my profile picture, I wasn't wearing that outfit again. It's been seen now.
Why?
Don't know. Just don't, do you?
Is that like a girl thing, or is that just a
don't know. Is that a girl thing?
Is that just some girls that are like that?
Maybe. Like, let me know. Would you re-wear an outfit that you've already worn in your profile picture and everyone's already seen?
I don't think people take that much notice.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't look at a bird in a picture and go, "Oh my gosh, you had that outfit on 3 weeks ago." Oh my God, I saw a picture of that 2 years ago.
No, but what I mean is,
like,
before,
who the hell takes that much notice?
No,
Nobody.
like, before, if I go to a wedding and I wear a dress and I post pictures at the wedding and I post them all, and then I've got another wedding in 2 weeks, I'm not going to wear that same dress. But say if it's got a completely different group of mates because I posted it. However, maybe in 1995, if I had a wedding, say in the summer, and I wore a particular dress and I wore it to the wedding, then I went to another wedding 2-3 weeks later or 2-3 months later with a completely different group of guests and friends, I might re-wear it.
I just think 1995 was more freer. You felt more free. Like, what you're saying is everything you're saying there, you just felt more free to be able to just not worry about being online or worrying about all this stuff that we worry about now. We're just more anxious parents now. I believe so. And
Do you think? But maybe our parents had anxieties. They must have. Do you not think sitting at home while your child has said, "Oh, I'm just going around my friend's house," but actually they're like pissed on cider in a field with a load of boys? Do you not think they had anxiety around that? Like, there must have been anxieties for them in 1995.
Yeah, maybe I'm just...
It's hard.
I don't know. It's a tricky one. When
would you rather live?
I got nostalgia about the 90s personally. I felt like it was, although we're heavily on social media, do I believe social media has been a net positive for society? I think there is positives about social media.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Do I think it's been a net positive? No, I don't.
No.
I don't. I think if you removed social media, and this is stupid for me to say because I'm so active on there, but I think if you removed it from society, I believe we would be a more peaceful, happy society. Maybe less productive, maybe, because you learn a lot from social media as well. You do. Like, if you use it properly, you can learn from people doing better than you or more successful than you. There's good access to information there.
As long as the information is information and not misinformation. So there's a pro and con there on everything.
But I've learned a hell of a lot from social media by using it properly. YouTube, tutorials and all that kind of stuff.
You're always bloody watching YouTube.
I love YouTube every single night about business and social media. So I've learned a lot about that.
Yeah.
Used properly, it's good. But I think back in the 90s, it was a more simpler existence for children and parents.
And we have to talk finances. Sorry, but I can't not say it. Like, there's this bit of me, I just begrudge my parents so
Boomers
much.
wind me up with this.
Oh, winds me up.
They wind me up so much.
If we had our jobs in 1995, I'm telling you now, we would have a bigger house.
Bigger?
Yeah.
I don't want to bring our finances into it, but fucking hell, we'd have double the size of our house. Jesus Christ, back when my mum and dad were having us, like, you could have 2 all right jobs.
Yeah.
And you could have a really decent sized house. You have 2 all right jobs now.
It's hard.
You can't really even buy a house. Not really.
Well, also, just for context, we live in Surrey. So
in Surrey.
It is really expensive.
Really
but I guess it's similar to in other places as well. Obviously, I think it is quite bad for us because of where we live.
Yeah.
But, you should be able to, be a teacher. And I don't really know what your job is, but something to do with numbers and counting, isn't it?
Head of finance.
There we go. We should be able to have our jobs and live in bigger than a rabbit hutch. We've got 1 room downstairs. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. I delved into this a bit further before the podcast as well.
I wouldn't even put rabbits in there, to be honest. It's a bit too
I delved down a bit further,
claustrophobic.
right? And listen to this, because this is particularly, if you're a mum listening, particularly a working mum listening, listen to this, because this hit me so hard. I was like, yeah. So this is a fresh statistic from 2025, okay? UK mums lose about £65,600 in earnings in the first 5 years after their first child is born. Their average monthly earnings are down 42% by year 5. So by the time your child is 5, the average monthly earnings for a mother are down 42%. And do you know what? I would say that is exactly me.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you'd be earning a lot more money if we didn't have kids, yeah.
I've gone from climbing the ladder and having loads of leadership responsibilities at school and being full-time and, really flourishing in my career, to being a mum of 2, trying to juggle both, being part-time. I've got 1 foot in the door at school, 1 foot in the door at home being a mother, and I feel that, and it pisses me off that I have to rely on you.
You wouldn't have to work in 95 in my job. And I'm not being big-headed, but you wouldn't have to work. You could just be at home and we'd probably have a bigger house.
Yeah.
Because my mum and dad paid about 150 grand for their house, and something like that, and they sold that for...
I don't think they even paid that.
No, it wasn't that. It was about 115, sorry. 150, it was over 100. 115. They sold that for about 600 grand. So what's that? That's, God, over 5 times. Salaries have not gone up over 5 times in that time.
Oh my God, no.
They've gone up probably, my dad's salary, not talking about it, but they're probably double now of what he was earning.
Yeah.
So the house price has gone up 5 times and the salary's gone up 2.
I
So
know.
how, just going by basic economics, that's why it's so much harder now to buy anywhere. And for our kids,
harder.
for our kids.
And then all the boomers bloody, what are they What are they blaming? Avocado on toast and coffee.
Oh yeah, we're spending too much time on cappuccinos. Well, I do spend a lot of money on cappuccinos. Don't get me wrong, but it ain't that. It certainly isn't that. You had it a lot easier. If you're like a nan reading it, listening to this, you were lucky.
Well, also, oh, Dean, you were lucky. Yeah, thanks, Mum. Can I just comment a little something I want to comment on? Do we think that children have better diets now than in 1995? Do you think we know more?
Oh, we definitely know more. I think we probably do overall. I think we probably do have slightly better diets, yeah.
I mean, I pissed my mum off last time I said this. She always brings it up. I think in the first episode ever of episode 1, ages ago, I brought up the fact that my mum used to give us turkey Twizzlers. She talks about it all the time. She's like, I didn't give you turkey Twizzlers every day, Sarah.
My mum and dad thought fries to go was a health food.
What, 'cause it's a potato?
Yeah.
Is it even a potato,
Sausage, mash and beans was like superfoods in our house. That was like a healthy meal.
Yeah, so I think parenting now, you've got more, I don't know, choice of foods. You've got more recipes available readily onto you online. You've got more stuff about child nutrition and child diet. So I think there's a lot more support there for feeding your
There
kids
is more
now.
support, but we worry about it more. So we're more anxious about it. Our parents were like, thinking they were like, you know what I mean? They weren't worrying about that much what we were feeding them. We're looking on social media and going, oh my God, can't feed them a bit of broccoli. It's got pesticides on it. Like, there's so much misinformation about food all over the line. We're getting so...
But do you not think so? Like, Joe Wicks has just launched that killer bar, though, hasn't he? And it highlights the dangers of what is really being put into some of our foods. Like the manufacturing of
that's
foods.
that's a scaremongering. You know, I don't fully agree with that.
Well, I think I'm quite impressed with what it's definitely made me stop and reflect and look on the packets of food. Like, for example, if I'm buying some, I don't know, microwave rice and it says egg fried rice, I would expect it to have in it maybe some egg, some rice and maybe some flavourings. But you turn over the packet and the list of ingredients is like half the stuff I can't even read. Do I want to be putting that in my body?
So he had to go at protein bars, didn't he, and saying they were shit.
No, he's released, basically, if you don't know, Joe Wicks has released a bar, and it's a
killer bar, protein bar with loads of additives and crap in it.
Yeah, he's gone along the legal limits, what you're allowed to put in a bar, but it's disgusting, isn't it?
You'd have to eat about 50 to 100 a day for the stuff in there to be harmful to the body. So I think people eating protein bars aren't the people that need to worry about it. Like, if you're going into a shop and buying a protein bar, you're consciously looking at something like that's healthier than a Mars bar. So I think he's just demonised the wrong thing there. That's all I would say. It's okay being more conscious about choices, but he's demonised the wrong thing. Protein bars aren't the problem. Going in there and fucking eating Mars bars is a much bigger problem, but he's demonised kind of the wrong thing. That's the only thing I would say about that.
See, I disagree with you. I think he's highlighting to the country, actually, be more conscious about looking at packets of food. Be more conscious about what they are putting in our food.
But demonising food just makes you have anxiety around foods. And if you've got anxiety around a protein bar, then there's a problem. There is a problem there. Okay. That you don't need to be worried about eating your protein bar.
I think his motives are nice.
If you are smashing 10 protein bars a day and you're heavily overweight, then maybe worry about it then. If you're having your protein bar in the week and you're worried about fitness...
But why do the protein bars need all those crap in them?
So they stay on the shelves longer. That's why any processed food has crap in it, so it lasts longer. And
I don't know. Anyway, I'm quite appreciative of what he's done.
Look at that.
Made me reflect. We're completely different.
But anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, the idea for me in 1995 is, dare I say, I think that as children, possibly, Dean, looking at the children nowadays compared to, say, our generation, do you think that we are developing resilience and patience in our children, or is everything too quick and readily available?
Resilience? Fucking no resilience.
So, for example, nothing was instant. And I'm just going to quick fire you with a few examples here, right? Nothing was instant. Wanted a book? Go to the library. Wanted to watch a film? Walk down to Blockbusters and choose one. Wanted to find up a fact? Look in an encyclopedia. Wanted to know what was in fashion? Go to the shops and look. Maybe buy a magazine. Couldn't just scroll Instagram reels. Wanted a holiday? Go down to Thomas Cook or look on teletext.
Teletext was the one. That was beautiful.
I never understood that. Wanted to listen to music? Couldn't just go on Apple Music. No, you've got to go down to HMV, queue in line, get your CD, or possibly even in 1995 your mixtape. Wanted the photos of your night out? Go down the pharmacy with your little camera, hand it in, get it developed. You know, there's so much now that are like all those things. Like watching the film,
they take effort to do.
That all took effort.
They take effort. It builds resilience. Now it's just like, oh, I want something. Go on Amazon. Well, I want a film. Go on Netflix. It's just like there's no effort. There's no resilience. Everything's too quick fire, and we wonder why mental health is through the roof. We're not supposed to live like that. Things are supposed to take effort.
There's no effort.
There's just no effort in anything.
The other day with Daisy, we've actually got Netflix, Disney, Amazon Prime, haven't we? And then normal telly.
They go on Netflix and they can't choose.
They can't find something to watch. I'm like,
can't
my God.
remember what it's called, but when you have too much choice, you can't actually choose anything. Don't know what it's called, but that's the problem. I watched Daisy. She looked at about 600 films and then ends up just turning it off. Whereas you go
I would love to take them back in time and actually show them on a Friday night, like when I had a friend round and we were going to do a sleepover. We used to have to walk into the village, not a long walk, maybe about 10 minutes, but we'd have to walk, go in there, look at the films, and then sometimes you'd even get in there, choose your film, and they wouldn't have any left because they'd already been rented out. And you had to deal with that kind of disappointment.
But you'd be looking forward to it all day as well.
Yeah.
I used to rent a game out on a Friday night, a PlayStation game. Was it PlayStation Nintendo at the time? I used to rent one out. Remember, you could rent them out from Blockbuster. I used to look forward to that all day. You used to look forward to going there all day, picking one, having it for 3 days, I think you rented it out for. Then you 1 to 3 days you get. And if it was 3 days, it'd be like buzzing. None of that now.
They just got this instant gratification for everything.
Oh, it's just.
So
when you think about it like this, it's actually fucking terrible. It is fucking terrible the way society's gone in that sense.
But what can
we had it right in the 90s.
Here we go.
If society could have just stopped for kids, we had it right. Add a few little things, but we've just even AI stuff like this. Not going to AI, but all of that's just making life worse. It's making life worse.
Ending that then, Dean. 1995 as a parent or 2025?
Without question, 95. Without question. It was easier. They were happier, less stressed. Life was simpler. Without question. We've got too much information. We're all anxious. We're all worried all the time. And our kids are all anxious all the time. Like it is. 95 was just the best era. Like it was.
All right. Well, let us know if you agree or disagree. Would you like to parent in 2025 or would you like to parent in 1995?
Now it's time for our new feature, You Be the Judge.
And we want to thank you for sending in your examples of your parenting dilemmas or maybe a parenting fail that you would like us to judge. We have had a few giggles and a few little shocks at some of the problems that you have sent in. So if you do have a parenting dilemma that you would like us to judge or discuss, please let us know via Instagram and we will possibly put it into a future episode.
So I've picked one close to my heart this week, haven't I? I can already see you sighing.
Yeah, all right.
So do you want to read it out for us?
Okay, so somebody messaged Dean, not me, Dean. I was like, okay, let's see. We've recently had our second child and my husband is really into golf. Anyone resonate?
I do not blame him.
Anyone
Great
resonate
sport.
so far?
Great sport.
Although I am really struggling with having the new baby and managing our other child who is 3, he still wants to play golf every Saturday, which puts him out of the house for about 6 to 7 hours. I think every week is maybe a little bit too much and it's causing me a lot of stress at the weekend. It's supposed to be a time when I can relax. Am I being unreasonable for wanting him to cut back on his hobby a bit?
So the question is he playing enough? Not should he be playing once a week? But obviously, I was a golf fanatic, wasn't I?
Yep.
So I played golf my whole life, and then we had our first child, and it does. I mean,
be careful what you say here.
what?
All right, go on. Say what you was going to say.
No,
Say it.
I know. I agree. Like, golf is a sport that takes a long time. If you're going to play 18 holes, you got to get there sort of before. Afterwards, it's 6 or 7 hours out of your Saturday. Don't get me wrong. That's a big chunk of your Saturday. And I appreciate you wouldn't want me out there every Saturday, every single week. So when we had our kids, I did slow down playing golf, didn't I? Or did I? I can't remember. I did.
Do you know what? He doesn't even fucking know, does he? You go through peaks and troughs and stuff because he's blatantly got undiagnosed ADHD. But Dean will get like an obsession with something and have to do it all the time. Bang, 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 bang. So I think in this instance, I think they just need to talk and have a conversation. You know, what time would be best for him to go and play golf? Does he need to play 18 holes or could he just play the 9? How much is she actually struggling? Because if she is really struggling, does he know? Has she told him? Does he see it? Because at the moment, a lot of people will just automatically think, what a selfish twat. Do you know what I mean? But maybe that's his release. Maybe that's what's keeping him sane. We don't know enough about it really to say that. But my advice is always just speak to each other about it, or all you're going to do is end up resenting each other.
And I think you need a hobby.
100%.
You need a hobby. The only problem with golf, like I say, is it takes a long time. Whereas I've got a hobby now, haven't I, which I'm well into. So I play snooker every week.
Don't know what you were going to say then. Carry on. Yeah.
But I play snooker every week, which is a Wednesday night, and I play from sort of 6:30 to about 10:30 once a week. And it is 4 hours I'm there, but kids are going to bed. It doesn't really put you out too much, does it? Rolling their eyes again. And but that's kind of my hobby now. I've kind of parked golf a bit, just I fell out of love with it. But still, it's just a long time. And then I've also got where I assistant manage my daughter's team, which is another hobby. So it's important to keep hobbies.
But
definitely.
I think here in this instance, she's obviously putting this message to you because she's struggling and she wants a little cry for help. She doesn't want to come across as that moany, psychotic wife who's just moaning for the sake of moaning. But if she's genuinely struggling and those Saturdays are horrendous for her, what was the age of the other kid? So she's got a 3-year-old and a baby.
It's tough
she's
ages,
finding it hard.
Tough ages,
do you know what? Just backseat your golf for a little bit till the baby's a bit older. Your child is only a baby once. Can't you backseat it for a couple of months?
When you've got a handicap to keep up to, it's difficult to do that. Like, you can lose your swing pretty quick, babe. That's the problem with golf. You've got to keep it ironed in there.
All right, well, my advice is maybe the husband could just do a little bit of community service, serving his own community, his family, in his house.
What I would say is, let me just add a little caveat to this, and you're probably not going to agree with this, but let's say you played golf.
Yeah?
Let's say you played golf, and we had 2 young kids, and you wanted to play golf every Saturday or Sunday, yeah? And you're out the house 5-6 hours, I personally would be fine with that.
Let's just say then, before we had Daisy, I used to go to Zumba 2 or 3 times a week. When I got pregnant with Daisy and when I had Daisy, that stopped. Because I couldn't no longer facilitate that and work and everything else that I had to fit in now that I had a young child. The mums, maybe we have more of an opinion on it when the dads go out and do all these golfing and do all these different things, because your life hasn't changed as dramatically as ours have. They haven't. Our bodies have changed. Our hormones have changed. Every aspect about being a woman changes when you have a baby.
Yeah,
she is going through something now. And why cannot... All right, just park your hobby for a fucking month. It could change your wife's life.
Personally, I wouldn't still play once a week. You know I wouldn't. I would definitely not do that. I think if we had a new baby and a 3-year-old, I would just park it for a bit.
Yeah.
I would. I think you can just go back to the hobby and...
They're only babies, and
it does start getting easier. So once it gets a little bit easier and more settled in, just do it then.
So are you actually taking the wife's side? Are you putting that the husband's guilty?
I'm going to get, for husbands, I just know if people listen to this, like dads, I reckon they're going to think, what a fucking melt, just play golf like every week. I think some people would think that. But I think about it deeply. I think once a week might be a bit overkill at that point. Or maybe you just play 9. Maybe 9, or maybe you just go to the range.
Or a weeknight.
Or you just go to the range on a weeknight to keep things in tune. I think there is a bit of give and take with this stuff. I think if you were playing once a week before having a baby, then you had a baby and you just like, I'm playing once a week again. I think you're being a bit...
Has that resonated with anyone listening? Are you suddenly thinking in your head, oh my God, that's my husband. Oh my God, that's my partner. And let us know.
Yeah, and if you've got any...
scenarios that you could send across. I actually really enjoy reading them. It's like a little bit of therapy for me, like reading through, being like, other people have this issue. Oh my God, I love it. It's
so if
really
you're listening to on Spotify, you can leave a little comment on Spotify.
Okay.
So leave the comment in there. That's a good place to do it. We get lots of comments through there. And just DM me as well. You can DM my social media with...
Yeah,
anything.
or DM our Fun Dad Dean and Wife Unfiltered Instagram page, because sometimes he gets a lot of weird messages and we have to filter them out. Instagram's a strange place.
But as always, thank you so much for listening and watching.
Thank you. Have a good week.